Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to show you an incredible free plugin for lo-fi sound design called iZotope Vinyl. This is not a sponsored video. I downloaded this for free just like anyone else can, but I wanted to give you not only a walkthrough of the plugin because it's recently had a big update to its interface, but more importantly I want to show you 3 or 4 really cool ways to use this in your tracks, just to show you how versatile it is and to see what it can do for your productions. So let's get right into it. So this is Vinyl by iZotope, and it's a mixing plugin which you load on your mixer as an effect, so you can load it on the master or on any individual mixer channel. I will explain what each control and dial does, but more importantly I want to show you the 3 different ways I'd use this, and then I'm going to break those down in detail, and in doing that you'll learn what all these controls do, but in a much more practical and fun way than me simply pointing at them and reading off the manual. So the first way of using this is to load it on your master channel to dramatically affect the tone of the whole recording. It really fits it in this sort of lo-fi box, and I'll explain more about what it's doing in a minute, but let's just take a listen. I'll be turning the plugin on and off with this bypass button up here. Let's take a listen. You can hear how it's affecting the tone and shape of the whole song. The next way to use it is for a spin down effect like this. So it's a very high quality reduction of pitch and speed over time. And the third way I use this plugin is to generate some noise, just a little bit of hiss, hum, crackle, static to go underneath a track, especially in lo-fi genres. This can really break up the digital nature of a track. If I turn this on, you'll hear that we're getting this really nice sort of crackling effect, and there's lots of control over the shape of that sound again. So I'm going to break all of these down one by one, starting with affecting the entire master. I've loaded it in its default mode just onto the master channel. It's the only thing on there. And if I turn bypass off, you'll notice that it's not really doing anything good to the track. The default settings are really pretty useless in this plugin. So if I turn this on, this is what it sounds like. And if I play some audio through it, I don't really think that's doing a good job. So the first thing I'm going to do is just turn the dust control all the way down, and that silences the plugin right away. And now we're going to get into what this actually does. I'm also going to turn warp down. The first thing I want to talk about are these year controls, because these make the biggest difference to the shape of the sound. Effectively, as you go down in years, you start losing some bass, but there's also a bit more going on than that. Let's just take a quick listen. Start from 2000, 1980, so we're also losing some gain as well, which just takes me to the input and output gain up here. So input, output, I'm just going to raise the gain up just a little bit so that it's a fair comparison. As you go back, you're shaving off quite a lot of the low end, and it's not because they didn't have bass or low end in the 1930s and 50s, it's just because the technology didn't allow them to cut that bass and that sound energy into records in the same way that we can today. If they tried to cut that much bass into a record, the needle would physically jump and it just wouldn't really work. And that's an oversimplification, but that's basically what happens. So as you select one of these lower years, the sound overall just becomes a bit less intense and you roll off that low end. But as you go to earlier and earlier years, to get the same volume out of it, the high end starts becoming a little bit harsh, which is where this wear control here comes in. As you turn this up, it kind of rolls off a little bit at the top end and it sort of smooths out the transients a little bit. That's what I hear. So let's take a listen. Just smooths it out a bit so that you can get some gain back without, completely killing your ears. Now I'm going to go over to the right hand side and use this warp control. Now the record here also adapts as you turn these different controls up and down, so you can see there's a little bit more shading here, but effectively this is adding more warp depth to the record, which makes it sort of drift in and out of tune. It's quite unpleasant at higher amounts, but small amounts could be great on individual instruments. Let's take a listen. I'll push this. So that's awful if I pull it back. There's 4 modes to control the warping: a sine, an inverted sine, and then peak, and inverted peak. So the sine is just going to take it up and down, above and below that pitch very smoothly, whereas the peak mode is going to spend less time smoothly reaching that pitch and going below. It's sort of going to jump up and down between the pitches a little bit faster. So I'm going to turn the warp off because I don't really tend to use it. And the last thing I want to show whilst we're on the whole track is that spin down effect, which you can activate just here. So if I just press play, you can just hit spin down. And it's actually a very, very clean spin down effect, and this just gradually reduces the speed and the pitch over time. And what's very important about this spin down effect and the years is that you don't just have to set one and forget. You can of course automate these. So if I select, like say 1930, then I go to this dial in FL Studio, right click, then I select create automation clip. You can automate which year you want it to be. So if I expand this automation clip and I choose hold, I can make it jump between the various years using an automation clip like this. So here we go. You'll want to use an automation when maybe during a part of your song you want your drum bus to be very filtered away, but then you want it to open up and have all that bass and you can really feel the kick during another section of the song. So it's good that you can automate and switch between these modes. And from what I hear, there's no click, pop, or any sort of distortion when you switch between modes. It seems really, really smooth and clean on my system. So that's everything for applying it to the master. But I want to talk about generating sound, because you can use this dust, scratch, and these noise controls here on the master to generate sound, but I think it's much more effective to create your own channel, which I just call noise, or vinyl noise in this case. I load up an instance of vinyl, and I'll show you how I set this up to make this really nice vinyl crackle noise here. I've reloaded the plugin into its initial state, and I'm just going to turn that dust control all the way down because it's really annoying. So what I'm going to do is show you the noise generation on this side. So we have a mechanical noise here, and it says that it starts at -30, but this is actually minus infinity. It's turned off right now, and as I turn it on, you'll hear this. So you get that sort of noise, and you also have electrical noise, which is just this sort of buzz and hum. I think it sounds best with just a little touch of mechanical noise. And if I go to 2000, you'll notice that the mechanical noise has quite a lot of low end, but if you go to the 50s or 30s, it cuts out a lot of that low end and it just sounds nice and crackly. The next thing is to use this dust control. So I start by turning it up to 100%, but I turn the gain all the way down. And if I turn mechanical off, you hear that it just adds this nice crackle underneath everything. So with mechanical turned back up again, that sounds quite nice. Scratch is one you've got to use in moderation. This is emulating a scratch in the record, and it tends to make it jump and skip. I don't think it sounds nice, but it might be what you want. If I turn it all the way up, it sort of does that, which I'm not a big fan of, so I'm going to turn that down. And now something that's quite important is the RPM. So this is how fast the record is spinning. So this is slower, 33 RPM. This is faster, 78 RPM. And if you increase it, you're going to get more of those little sort of dust noises and scratches every second. And if you turn it down, you're going to get less of them. This is just purely a taste thing. When you've got a noise you're happy with, try this Lofi switch here. This emulates a sort of sampler artifacts. It sounds a lot like just simple bit reduction to me. Sometimes, in some settings, at the right volume, this just sounds really nice. You can see that I'm not really getting very much level here at all, so if you want to, just use the output to increase the gain, just so that you've got something that you can work with. Remember that you could be using EQs and compressors after this to further shape the tone of this noise, but these settings are pretty nice as a starting point. You can also use this button here to fold the whole thing into mono. which again, I think that sounds even better, even more vintage. So I hope that these settings for the vinyl noise and also those settings for the master channel for filtering your track help you in your productions. But remember, you don't have to apply this to your whole track, and to be honest, a lot of the lo-fi songs that I listen to and I love, they have a ton of bass, so you don't want to filter away all of that. What this can very effectively be used for, I've just loaded it on my drum bus, is to filter an element of your track. So let's take a quick listen. Just the drums. Let's take it back to the 50s. You might want to do that during part of your song just to take some energy out so that there's space for other elements. So that's it for this video, but I do hope that was helpful. Please do let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below. What are some of your favorite plugins? What sort of plugins and instruments do you use for lo-fi music? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.